The good folks at BougeRV have sent to us two 12-volt rechargeable battery fans, and what we'll do in this episode is compare the attributes of the two of them to determine which of them best suits our Jeep camping needs. So stick around. Hey, welcome to CheaperJeeperTV. I'm Dino, your host. Glad to see you here. I can't start this video without first saying how much I love camping inside my Jeep Wrangler. Now, in my case, I made the CheaperJeeperTV sleeping camping platform, and we love it. It is so cozy in here. We love camping on the inside of our Jeep. Now, all of you can camp inside your Jeep, or if you wanted, in a tent or on a rooftop tent. If you have a Gladiator, you could do that, or even a camper in the case of the Gladiator. And whether it's a Jeep Wrangler or a Gladiator, you might even decide to go camping by towing a travel trailer. Either way, something that would come in handy when you're camping is a 12-volt rechargeable battery fan. Now, there are some that you could just plug into a rechargeable power station if you want, but BougeRV has two models of rechargeable battery 12-volt fans that we're going to have a look at in this episode. And what we'll do is look at the attributes of the two fans to determine which of them is best suited for your Jeep camping needs. So before I have a look at them here in the Jeep, let's have a look at the two fans and talk about some of their properties. First, we'll have a look at this fan, the BougeRV F01. It comes packed with a user manual and a USB-C charging cable. We'll take the protective coating off the digital display on the front, and on the back is the rechargeable battery, which has an on-off switch, USB-A charge port, and a USB-C charging port, and also the control buttons along the top of it. Pressing the first button on the left will turn the fan onto speed 1 out of 4. Then press again for speed 2, 3, and 4. Once more and it's off. The second button from the left is the light. Hit it once for a lovely low warm glow, again for high, and again for off. The third button from the left is the timer feature, where you can have the fan run for an hour before it turns itself off, or click each time for 2 hours, 4, 6, or 8, and another click to turn off the timer. And finally, the last button on the right turns the digital screen on or off, which displays the battery life left in the fan. You can see here that the fan pivots completely around into any position. Although it pivots completely on its base, there is an integrated hook from which you can hang this in your Jeep, tent, camper, or trailer. The F01 also has app support, so you can perform all of these functions from the convenience of where you are at with your phone relative to where your fan is located. Now we'll have a quick look at the BougeRV F02, and already you can see some difference. Firstly, the size, as the F02 is a bit larger. The F02 also comes with a manual, a USB-C charging cable, but also an AC adapter to run this fan on-grid if you like. For off-grid uses, the F02 comes with a proprietary removable rechargeable lithium battery. The F02 has USB-A and C ports that will allow you to charge other items such as your phone from the F02 battery, but interestingly, it's not cross-platform compatible with other BougeRV appliances. The F02 doesn't have a digital display to show remaining battery capacity like the F01, but it does have the 4 gauge lights on the back of the battery itself to display battery life left. After quickly inserting the charged battery, a single click on the button on the left will turn the light on low, click again for high, and once more for off. By turning the yellow rotary dial on the center front of the fan, the audible click starts the fan on low, and then you can turn it clockwise to full. The battery must be removed and charged through a USB-C cable like the one provided. The F02 can pivot 210 degrees and also has deployable hooks to mount it on a rope or suitable structure. Unlike the F01, the F02 does not have app support from which you can control the fan. So before we go back to the Jeep to discuss Jeep camping compatibility of these two fans, I'll post this table and specifications, and you can pause it if you're interested in those details. Okay, let's talk about how these fans can support your way that you camp with your Jeep. Okay, hopefully that review was helpful. Let's have a physical look at the two fans and I'll give you my impression. So here we have the F01 And my impression so far is it looks very well constructed. Now, a lot of you who've seen my other videos, you know I have a DIY shelf that I usually mount right across here. It's great to put a rechargeable power station, or if you have your laptop or a book that you're reading. So it's handy having that shelf. And what I used to do is put these USB plug type of fans that I would plug into the portable power station. So what's nice about the BougeRV fans is they have onboard batteries that are rechargeable. What's really nice about this, as we saw about the longevity of these batteries, you could have them charged up for the trip and not worry about plugging them in anywhere. You can see this one here, I just pressed the power button and the fan is working. And the longevity means it'll be enough for a nice weekend long trip where I don't have to worry about recharging it. Now I just got these, so I'll be able to report back later on my experience with how long they last on some longer trips. But this one is the F01. This is what it looks like, the form factor. It would sit nicely on a shelf, and when you press the power button, it just starts off in the low mode, and then there's a second mode where the fan moves up more, a third, and a fourth, which gives you lots of flow of air. And it's hot, it's summertime, so I'm appreciating this right now. So I'm hoping that didn't affect the audio. Another nice thing about this unit is that when the fan is on, it tells you the percentage of available battery life. That is handy because you're always wondering, you know, how much time do I have left on the use of that battery and the such. So the next button is the light button. Now it's daytime right now, but at nighttime, this seems to me like a nice warm color. And whether you're inside your Jeep, your tent, or your travel trailer, that is a nice warm light to cast in your camping setup. So that's kind of nice. Now the next button, and it's your timer button. I really like that because when I have gone camping, I have to physically get up and unplug my USB fan that I've been using so far. But now that I've got this, if I know I just need the fan to run for an hour because I'll be asleep and it can turn off and save the battery, I just have to set the timer for 1 hour, set the fan up here on the shelf, and let it do its thing while I go off to sleep. So that is really a nice feature. And then finally, the last button, it will either leave that light that shows you the percent battery left, or you tap it and it turns the light off so you don't have to look at that if you don't want that. However, I find that a really nice feature, and this fan in the scenario of a small tent or in the back of the Jeep like right now seems very suitable. And you can see how you could direct it into any position that you want. And if I had a cable up here, I could even just hang it right here and then tilt the fan to me on a low setting, and that would be perfect. Or if I need the light, that's a nice spot for it as well. The F01 also utilizes the BougeRV Utilities app, so let's have a look. Once you open the app, you use the plus symbol and you locate any BougeRV appliances. Here you see the F01 fan has been added. You click on it to access the F01 controls, and you can see the icon of the fan at the top of the page. And then of course you can control the fan speed by just clicking here. With the fan running, you can control the on and off switch for the display right here, as you can see on the icon in the app. And then of course you can control the fan speed up to 2, 3, 4, and off. And here you could select your light, so you could have 1 for low light and then 2 for high light, and then off as well. And then finally, this section here that they call scheduling, you could also refer to as the timer. When you select it, you can go 0, 1, 2 hours, 4, 6, 8. And then you hit confirm once you've made your selection. So that shows nicely how this app can control all the features of the fan if it's sitting up on the shelf of the Jeep and you're laying back and you just want to control it from where you are. So yeah, this is the F01, and you might think in your camping needs, maybe you sleep in your Jeep or in a tent or rooftop tent, a camper in your Gladiator, or you tow a travel trailer. Is this the one that suits your needs the best? Well, before you make your decision, let's have a look at the F02. Okay, so now this is the F02. This can also sit on the shelf that I have right here. Now I do have my DIY shelf, or you've seen in a recent video, I've got an RT TCZ shelf that can mount right here. Whichever it is, you could put either of these fans on that shelf. Now this one has the rechargeable battery pack. It just slips right in. Now this one is very simple to operate. There's a little dial. You just turn that dial and now it's on, and you could turn it all the way to get the full speed of the fan. This moves more cubic feet per minute of air than the other one, but for your purposes, do you require that? For example, in a small space like this, is the smaller fan that we looked at before more suitable than this bigger one? It all depends on what you need to have happen. There's a light that the fan has as well, that's on low and that's on high. I guess if it was nighttime, I would be able to demonstrate these lights a little better. And then there's a button area here where you could recharge your phone off the battery that's part of the fan. However, this fan does not give you a reading on how much battery life is left in this unit. However, the battery itself has a 4-light system where you can monitor the amount of battery strength left just off of the battery. So this one also has these hooks here that you could hang the fan off of something, but in the amount of space here, maybe you would possibly use this outside. Now that brings me to a certain use case scenario that both of these can be utilized for, but maybe this one might be better in that if you were outside sitting at your camp table and the bugs were bad, if you had this on full blowing towards you, this might help just keep the bugs from landing on you or keep the smoke away from you. But this is a little bit more heavy duty and you could utilize it for more than just camping, like if you had a workshop or a shed where you needed to move some air. So let's have a look at the two of them here in this setting. So here we have the two of them and we're in the setting of inside the Jeep. Now, if you're in a travel trailer and you wanted to move some air in the travel trailer, maybe you've got a bigger space that might help you determine which of these two units you'd want to use. So with all the things that these two fans have that are similar, and with the things that we've discussed where they're different, I guess it's up to you and your camping scenario to determine which of these two fans is most suited. Why don't you let me know in the comments section below which of these two fans suits you or impresses you most when you think about camping with your Jeep and one of these fans. So that's it for this week's episode of CheaperJeeperTV. I hope that you found it interesting, and if you did, how about giving this video a thumbs up? And if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit that subscribe button and the alert bell so you'll be notified when the next video is released. Until the next time, I'm Dino for CheaperJeeperTV. Be well, stay safe, take care.